Okay, fabulous. I think there are no more people in the waiting room, so we will get started. I am going to leave you with this wonderful team in just a moment, and they're going to explain to you everything that you need to know about life in year 3, what to expect, all of the practical information. You will be able to answer questions or ask and answer questions through the session. If you do have a question, just pop it in the chat, and at the end, the teachers will have a little look and answer any questions that you have. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the teachers.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am one of the giraffes teachers. My name is Mrs. Cooper.
And I'm Mrs. Hall, I teach antelopes.
And I'm Mrs. Rogan and I teach giraffes as well. We've also got Mrs. Averson and Mrs. Ghaffari in antelopes and Mrs. Johnston in giraffes. Okay, so the structure of our day, the door opens at 8:35 and the children come up and get straight on with their arithmetic or handwriting, and then we will take registration. Our first activity is then Sounds Right, where we're using our phonics. We then move on to English and whole class reading. And then on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have assemblies, which are behaviour, values, and we celebrate Writer of the Week and achievement on a Friday. And we'll have story time on a Tuesday or Thursday, then playtime, maths after playtime. Then we have our lunch. In the afternoon is our foundation subjects such as geography, history, RE, PE, and so on. And then we now finish the school day at 3:15.
Sorry, there you go. Yeah, so our curriculum that we are following is English, and in English we do reading, phonics, which I'm sure everyone is aware we're doing Sounds Right, we do writing, and then we do SPAG, which is our spelling and grammar as well. We do maths, science, PE, PSHE, art, music, geography, history, RE, and also computing, DT, and French.
So for some of our foundation subjects, we are following a scheme called Opening Worlds, which it says it's a new programme. We actually used it in year 3, just in year 3 last year. And it teaches the children the history, the geography and the RE. It's really, really fabulous. I'm sure your children are already coming home and telling you lots of facts that they've learned. It's just the knowledge is amazing. It's really, really ambitious. So they really get a sort of a deep learning about the topics that we teach them. It comes with slideshows and they have reading booklets as well. And it's all planned in far more detail than we could ever plan that amount of knowledge. So they absolutely love it. Generally last year they really enjoyed it. It links up with our English because it's very vocabulary rich, and it's all about learning new vocabulary and saying it out loud, and repeating the facts to help it stick. So it links with our English. Now we do an hour, so we now do an hour of history a week and an hour of geography a week and an hour of RE a week. So obviously that's impacted on the timetable because we used to just do history or geography and then half an hour of RE. So it's more time to the foundation subjects. But the fact that it links up with our English means that the way that we've done it is we've dropped one English lesson a week. So we've got that extra time on, I think we're all doing Friday, aren't we? So on a Friday, instead of having an explicit English lesson, we will have an Opening Worlds lesson, and then we do 2 in the afternoon as well. So that's how we've made time for it in the timetable.
Yes, because they are getting so much more reading exposure during the Opening Worlds lessons as well. I just want to say, sorry, if there are any questions that you want to ask while we're going, please just pop them in the chat, because I can see people are raising their hands, but it's better if we just have the questions and then we can talk about it at the end.
Sorry, it's just to say some people are still being waited to be let in.
Oh yeah, I did let everybody in, so there's no one in the waiting room anymore, unless it's not working, but it says it's empty, so hopefully that's all right. Okay, right. Yes, so then Mrs. Hall already explained everything about Opening Worlds. These would be the 3 different parts that we have: history, geography, and then RE. And this is just to show you basically what we cover, what the topics are for each of them. So in history, we have ancient Egypt, cradles of civilization, the Indus Valley, Persia and Greece, ancient Greece and Alexander the Great. And then we've got geography, rivers, mountains, settlements, agriculture, volcanoes, climate and biomes. And then we've got RE, which we focus mainly on Hinduism and Judaism. So we've got Hindu stories, living with Hindu traditions, the Hebrew Bible, Joseph, Moses and the Exodus, the Kings, the Temple, and living as a Jew.
The great thing about it is it looks like it's all separate topics, but it all links. So it links across the 3 different subjects, and it also links down amongst all of the topics. So when you're learning about ancient Greece, for example, you'll be referring back to something you learn in ancient Egypt, or when you're learning about so the rivers fits in with the Indus Valley. So it's got that links across and up and down as well. And they do remember a lot of the facts, the way that it's taught.
Because of all the repetition, it's really good for their retrieval as well.
So some visits that we've planned. So we try and start or end. We try and do some kind of spark day. It kind of doesn't work as much with Opening Worlds because we have 3 different topics across those 3 foundation subjects running at the same time. But we'll try and do something at the beginning or the end to spark their interest. And educational visits that we're hoping to plan. These are the list of the ones that we did last year that we hope to book again this year. So the Hindu temple, which was the best trip ever. It's just a half day. It was really good, wasn't it? It's just half a day, and we go to a Hindu temple in Wembley on a coach. So that hopefully I'm trying to book it at the moment for sort of end of November, beginning of December. So that will hopefully be this term. When we learn about ancient Greece, we've used the Hobgoblin Theatre Group before. They come and do one of the ancient Greek myths for us and perform it, and then we do lots of work on that. The British Museum we did last year halfway through the year, because the British Museum literally has artifacts for everything, all of our history topics. So we went, was it about February last year? Yeah. So we're hoping to book that again as well. The falconry visit as well, we used it as an English theme. So we did that in the summer term where we had Alan the Birdman came with his birds of prey,
which the kids love,
and
we do as well.
And the children and us get to hold the birds, and they see them fly and they learn all about them. And then we did some English writing from that as well. And then High Ashurst is actually booked, the outdoor and adventurous activity day, for end of June. Yeah, so you'll get the dates and everything for that. But basically we go over to Box Hill for a whole day, and it'll be an extended day as well. So we go over to Box Hill and they get to do lots of activities like orienteering, and they did treasure hunts.
It's all outside.
It's all out. It's a really, really lovely day. So those are the things that we're hoping to do this year. There might be other bits and pieces that come in as well.
Okay, so about PPA, once a week we are released to have time for planning and preparation, and in year 3 this happens on a Wednesday afternoon, and then the children are taught by Mr. Carlo and Miss Cooney for music and French separately. Someone there we go.
So homework, we've already done our first week of homework, which is great. I think I got homework back from everybody in my class. So I'm going to say the most important, but it's all important, but the most important is the reading. So the children will all be sorted out with a reading book and a reading record, and it's just reading, even if it's just 5 minutes every day. We're happy for them to read their own books at home. We will send them home with a book which is within their band. Some of them will also be bringing home the decodable books that go with the Sounds Right scheme, the phonics scheme, as well, just to help them. So if they're not at the level of reading where they can just read everything, if they're still learning the sounds, we will be sorting those out and sending those home as well. Now those books are the ones that they should be able to read on their own, and it's to help them feel what it's like to read fluently. So those books can be read again and again and again until they can read them fluently. We will send a colour code as well, which is the one that you could read with your child, and anything else they want to read would be fabulous. We'll be opening up the library in a couple of weeks and having so they'll be able to choose a library book, and anything they want to read at home would be great. But if they can just record it in their reading record, we just expect them to write in it sort of once every day, just so we can see that they are reading regularly. That'll be checked in school and ticked off as well. And now they're year 3, a lot of the children will be reading independently, which is fine. It's nice if they will read to you maybe like once a week or something, if they're fluent readers.
Or even listen to you read.
Yeah, that's all of that counts, but we just want them to get used to recording it in their books. They can do it themselves, so we're from sort of next week, we'll be reminding them to hand their reading records in the morning, and we'll be checking that they've written in it. If they don't get time or they forget, then they can come in and do it in the morning. So as long as they have read, they can always write in it themselves. It's just getting them into that routine of logging it, really. So the homework books, I think, are similar to what you had in year 2, the CGP books. So they've got a SPAG and a times table book this year. So the SPAG homework book, there's a little timetable in the beginning, the front of the book, and that tells you the date and what pages they have to do. It's really important that they check that, and that they do the pages that are for that week, because we will have taught something to do with that. So I think this week it's verbs. So planned into our English this week is some work on verbs to prepare them for that. So there'll be 2 pages of the SPAG, and then the times table, we're just working through it. So I think they did the 2nd chapter last week, and it'll be the 3rd one this week, so it's week 3. And that's just practicing their times tables. Again, they're all at different levels on their times tables. So if they need a bit of help, that's absolutely fine. I've encouraged mine, if it's doing like the 3 times table and you're not sure, then write the multiples of 3 at the top of the page, and then they can use that to help answer the questions. I think it says in the letter they all need to attempt the questions in the box at the top, and then there's some word problems, and then there's a challenge as well. So as much of that as they can manage, and that's marked in class every week. So it's given out on a Wednesday, so they should come home with their homework books on a Wednesday night. And then they've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do it. And then Monday, they should be bringing them back in. Now, we ask them on a Monday, have you got your homework books? And then if they haven't, they've got another day's grace, because then on a Tuesday, we've planned it in that we mark the homework with them. So we'll go through the SPAG and we'll go through the times tables and mark it with them. So they really do need to have those books in by Tuesday at the latest every week. The other thing, times table rock stars, have yours got their logins? Yeah, they've all got their logins in their front of their reading records. So they can log on to TT Rockstars. I think we've still got the competition going in assembly with the most coins and the most time that they get.
Most coins and most time they spend on it.
Yeah, and that all goes in the newsletter, and that's great, because they will next year they have the times table check. So it's really important that they're working on those times tables. If they're finding it too easy or too hard, you can let us know, because we can set which times tables they have. So the ones they should know 2, 5s and 10s already from year 2. Year 3, times 3 times table they started in year 2 as well. And then we do the new ones, are 4s and 8s. So if they already know them, we can give them more. If they're struggling with all of those, then we can slim it down and just give them the ones that they need. So do let us know. Homework club is on a Wednesday. I think we're almost at our maximum, possibly. We've got quite a few in it already. We've given out some letters. If you would like your child, then ask, and if a space comes up, we can always let you know. They've also got logins in their reading records for their email address, which is to use in class. So we'll be doing some work on that in computing using their email address, and it logs into their Google account, their Groveland's Google account. So that's for our
most of them know that, because they made that up themselves.
They changed their passwords.
Okay, Right, so expectations. So basically these things are three important things. Attendance, please make sure that your child is on time every day, obviously, if possible. And let us know if they are not going to be attending because they're unwell. It's just really important for them to be on time every day because we do get started as soon as they arrive. And if they are late, then they are behind on what we are doing. So it just makes them a little bit, less organized and just trying to catch up from the start. The next thing is uniform. Please make sure that the uniform is in line with the Groveland's uniform expectations. And please do be reminded that jewellery, including earrings or special earrings, are not part of the uniform. Large hair accessories, dyed hair and shaved sections are also not permitted.
If they've got pierced ears, they can have those little plastic spacers, can't they?
And I think retainers.
Cool. I think Mr. Tuck said as well, if they've had them pierced recently and can't take them out, then you can stick plasters over them.
Yeah. The retainers you can literally get on Amazon as well, and they come in quite big packs as well. And then the PE kits, please ensure that they wear the correct PE kit, and we have our PE days on a Tuesday and on a Thursday, so those are the days that they should be wearing that.
Now, values, I'm sure you all know these by now because most of you have probably been through this quite a few times. So those are our 6 values. We promote those in school all the time. We've got displays in the classroom. We give them values tokens, little gold tokens, which goes towards their house for a whole school competition when we see them keeping those values. And we also send postcards home to let you know when we've spotted them keeping those values, generally at the end of a half term, but you might get them other times as well if we get time to write them.
Yeah.
And we've all been through those again. We've revised those with the children, and we've got a sort of a set of promises where they've come up with some ways that they can keep the values and signed it to
some
say
class rules we did in the first week that they all came up with and agreed to follow, and that's what we strive to do in class every day.
And it's going well so far.
Quite. Then our behaviour system, I'm sure you are also aware of this, like Mrs. Hall has just said about the values tokens, and then the winning house each term get to have a special treat in school. So they collect these tokens throughout, every day for upholding our values.
And they stay in the same house all the way through the school.
Yeah.
So if your child is worried about something, or if you're concerned about something, then obviously speak to them about it, and then you can talk to any of our sort of any member of staff about it. And they know that obviously they can talk to you, and we've got in our classrooms I wish my teacher knew box, so we check those regularly. So if they've got a worry and they don't want to say it, they can write it down and put that in there, and that was introduced to them in the first week, and then obviously we can investigate what the issue is. But I mean, generally they're happy to come to us, but sometimes they'll come to you first. So obviously then if you could let us know, then we can look into whatever the worry or whatever the concern is from your child.
If you catch us at the door, at drop off or pick up, or write us a little note, or in the reading record or anything,
or you can email, if you email info@Groveland's, then they'll pass any messages on if you can't come into school. If you do have still concerns and it's not resolved, then your first port of call is always the class teacher, because 9 times out of 10, if it's a child in our class, we can deal with it, help solve it sometimes. If at that point it hasn't been resolved, then the next step is to go to the phase leader, which is me. And then if it's still not resolved, then obviously one of the senior leadership team, so Mr. Tuck or Mrs. Coleman, they're always around at drop off and pick up, or you can always send an email again to info and that will be forwarded. But class teacher first, and let us try and deal with it.
Then parent meetings. So these are just the parent meetings that we normally have in the hall. All parents will be invited to make an appointment for the parents' consultation evenings, which happen in the autumn and the spring terms.
And we are back to in person as
Yes,
well. I think we
back to
did
in
the autumn
person.
one last year,
Yeah,
we did
we did.
online, but I think that, as far as I know, they're both in person this year.
Yeah. And then parents of children with special educational needs will also be invited to a pupil passport meeting every term. And that's to specifically talk about targets that we set and strategies that are put in place for those specific children. So you'll only need to attend that pupil passport meeting if you get a letter about it. But the parent consultation evenings is for everybody to attend.
So that's all of the information we've got to give you. Have we got any questions in the chat? If there's anything that you think of, if you type it in, and then we can answer hopefully for you.
Yeah. There's nothing in the chat right now, but we'll give it a minute or so.
Yeah.
To see if anything comes up. But please do catch us at drop off or pick up if you want to ask anything or talk about anything.
There aren't specific topics like we've had in previous years. No, so because it's not, it's so the geography, the history and the RE is all from Opening World, and it isn't one topic. So for example, this term, the history is ancient Egypt, the geography is rivers, and the RE is
Hindu
the story of Rama and Sita. So we don't, whereas before we were teaching from one specific topic,
and everything was based on
everything. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore, but it is all linked together, and things like our English is still linked to the topic. So we've linked it to, it might be linked to any of those three things, but this term we've linked it to
ancient
Egypt. Yeah, so we're doing Egypt, we've done Egyptian Cinderella, we're moving on. I think we're going to do instructions for mummification, and then we look at the Egyptology book and do a journal entry for that. So we don't have one all-encompassing topic anymore, but it is all linked together.
Anything else?